Thanks for joining us again for another episode of Ask the Expert. This one is going to be a little bit different. We get this question all the time in our inbox and thought maybe we should make a video about it. So, how do you set up a tubeless tire with an insert that likes to make things a little trickier? So, going to set up some new tires for a gravel race. Thought this is the perfect time to do it. So, going to go with the Pathfinder Pro. We've got our tubeless sealant, the wheel, and the Vittoria insert. So a couple little tips and tricks that we're going to go through on how to do this. One thing that we use to take the old tire off is our tire lever, and we are not going to need that to put the tire back on. So we'll go ahead and get the tire unboxed, put the one side on, and we'll go from there. Alright, so we have our tire unboxed, ready to go. We're going to take our wheel here and line up this first side. So I always like to line up the logo on the valve. And then we're going to mount this first bead on. One of the things I like to do setting up tubeless tires is make sure I'm doing it over a trash can, so that if we, mostly when you're taking tires off, you have a place to pour the excess sealant. So you can probably hear some of the rattling down there. Brand new one is a little trickier to get on. So here, I always like to just work a little bit at a time. Make sure we get the bead to come up over the top. Alright, so we got that in. Then I'm going to take the insert here, pop that in just like you would an inner tube. So nothing really all that different here. And then we're going to start opposite of the valve and push the tire on. So try to do it this way so you can see. And then as we get down to the bottom, we're really going to want to make sure that that insert is sitting inside of the rim bed. Use our thumbs and push that up. Now, this is usually the spot where people start to have some trouble. So, if you can see, the one side of the tire bead wants to seat on the rim bead. So, one of the best tricks I've used is just to make sure, starting opposite the rim bead, or opposite the valve, I'm sorry, you want to get that tire bead down into that center channel. And we'll have Phil put a graphic up what that looks like. But on both sides, what we're trying to do is reduce the diameter of the wheel by getting that tire down into the center channel all the way around. And that's just going to make it easier for us to install. So, try to get a good portion of this hooked up. What we're going to do is we're going to take our sealant, give it a good shake, and then pour along here and just allow it to run down into the center. Right. So, got the tire unseated a little bit. But what I want to do is, as we get it here, I'm going to rotate this wheel and let the sealant get down into that part of the tire that's already both sides on the rim. And then as it gets a little tight, double check that that tire bead is down into the center channel. And one little tip once you get the insert in there is you can kind of pull the insert up into the tire and keep it from pushing the bead onto the rim. And then Just work your way around. And we're all set. So a little bit of sealant on the rim there. We'll wipe that up and get it inflated. Alright, now we got the rim a little cleaned up from that sealant that was on there. Usually I can do it with a little less sealant getting everywhere, but it's a little harder on the camera. So the next step really is just to inflate the tire. Modern rims and tires are getting really, really good that just your standard floor pump can do most of them. There's a couple tips and tricks. A compressor is great if you have one. What we're going to try to do is we're going to use our trusty SuperPista digital here and just try to inflate the tire normally. If not, if that doesn't work, we're going to remove the valve core and get a little bit more air into there at once. So we'll go ahead and I always like to put the valve at the 12 o'clock position. And we'll get it set up. And then the key here is you're really just trying to get as much air in there as quickly as possible. And you want to make sure both tire beads are on the either side of the valve. So it's pretty easy to get those beads on one side of the valve and you're just pumping air out the other side of the tire. So we'll go ahead and try to get some air in here. There we go. I jump every time. So we'll get, there we go. Those beads popped into place. Probably run these tires about 32 PSI maybe, so I'll probably set them up at 35 and just make sure that everything is in place. And there we go. So, tubeless install without making a big mess, and no tire levers to damage rims when you're putting tires on. And we have an insert in there, so a little extra flat protection from pinch flats. And if you do get a flat, you can actually run it for a little while until you get to a spot where you can change it easier. So, yeah, looks like we're all ready to go down to the next gravel race. So thanks for stopping by.